There was one thing on the minds of millions of families across Ontario today as we awaited word on the reopening plan. What about schools? Though, as Cynthia just told us, there's still no clarity on if or when schools will reopen this year, and that has left some parents absolutely fuming.
I almost want to cry and I'm angry. I'm a mix of anger and rage and sadness.
For months now, Ontarians have heard this line from the Ford government, the medical officer of health, and even the doctor sitting on the province's science table.
Schools should be the last thing to close
and the first to open.
But that wasn't to be today, with Ford saying he's being torn in two directions.
We have some differing opinions. Dr. Williams, which I always chat with, he's in favor of opening the schools. We have a few doctors on the science table that aren't in favor.
Today, Ontario's science table said a June 2nd reopening of schools could be manageable, though it would result in a 6 to 11% increase in COVID-19 cases. That's too much for one family doctor working on the front lines, who believes the focus should be on getting children 12 and up vaccinated before a return to school in September.
6 to 11% increase in cases, that's not insignificant. Plus, we're in the middle of, we're just starting to vaccinate kids. Right now, I'm in a vaccination center in Rexdale, and we're starting to give the kids a Pfizer vaccine as well as adults for their first dose.
Noticeably missing from today's announcement was Ontario's Minister of Education, though he didn't give families or teachers any more clarity on the province's plan earlier during question period.
We're going to continue to follow the best expert advice of the Chief Medical Officer of Health, as we have done throughout the pandemic.
Bronwyn Alsap is the chair of the newly formed nonprofit Ontario Families Coalition.
I'm disgusted. I'm sick of our children being robbed of their education. It doesn't make any sense that they can't go back to school tomorrow. They should be back in school in person learning, and the fact that we're still going through this and they are neglecting to put our children's mental health and safety first repeatedly when they keep using this excuse that schools should always be the last to close and the first to open, it means completely nothing to me now. I don't believe a thing that comes out of their mouth.
Our Cynthia Mulligan asked parents, teachers, and all Ontarians on social media this week their thoughts on reopening schools. Hundreds responded. Candace Smith wrote, "Yes, no question, my kids are both socially isolated, lonely, and want to see their friends." Patty Elmhurst posted, "There are no teachers or education staff fully vaccinated to my knowledge. I'm not sure why we are even talking about this." And one teacher wrote in, "I polled my grade 12s about this today. From them, it was a very loud no. They felt it's still too early and they think focus should be on a safe September reopening." Ontario's medical officer of health today saying he'd like to see schools open by June and that he's been advocating for them to reopen for about 3 to 4 weeks now, though he wouldn't confirm if it's actually going to happen. Dr. Williams adding that he's heard that about 30% of teachers have received their first vaccination.